You found a supplier, they seem like a fantastic fit, they provide what you need, or at least 90% of what you need, and they're incredibly affordable. What's the catch? Let's talk about what to do when the deal seems to be a little bit too good to be true. Hello everyone, my name is Grace and I'm the founder and owner of Budget Wedding Stories, where we help couples like you have incredible memories for affordable prices. Now, I've seen it over my time. I've seen many brides get burnt and hurt, and I've also seen many brides stumble across a deal that is the deal essentially of a lifetime, especially in wedding planning. The difficult part is how to know which one is which. Now, first of all, there are a lot of scammers in the wedding industry. Unfortunately, for a lot of suppliers, weddings supplying, I guess, is wedding vendoring is kind of pitched as this fantastic way to make a lot of money because everyone spends money on weddings. And so you have a lot of people who are in it for the money, people who are thinking of ways to shortcut processes and pretty much get money out of people that they're not owed and they don't deserve. And so you have a lot of people making high promises that they don't intend to follow through. On the other hand, you also have people who are getting into the wedding industry, maybe for the money, but genuinely for like a career, wanting to really help people in this, who genuinely love being involved in weddings and wedding days and with couples on this special day. And so they're actually really keen and really passionate about weddings. And because, for example, they may do it for the love of it, they may have a side job, they maybe are just getting started, and so they're a lot more affordable than your typical professional is. And now, because you're here, because you're a little bit more on a budget, you're more inclined to try and seek out these people. But you've also got to ask yourself, is it too good to be true, and how do I know? And so I think there are 5 things at least that are important to kind of assess when going into these situations. Now, first of all, I think it's really important to get an idea of where the vendor is at in their business journey. Ideally on a call if you have the time and ability to, but pretty much be like, just tell me about yourself. Why are you passionate about weddings? How did you get into weddings? How long have you been operating as their business name? Because they can be very different answers. For example, I started getting into weddings in 2017. I really loved it. I mostly did it as I advertised on Gumtree for a long time, and then on some wedding listing sites. And then I actually changed my business name a couple of times because one was like a videography only one, and then I wanted to be general, and then I wanted video again. And then eventually we finally settled on Budget Wedding Stories as a whole, because doing both photo and video was something that I was really passionate about, and especially offering photo first. But you look at that and you're like, okay, so you started in weddings, but you've only been running this company for however long. It may be a little bit confusing. For some people, they're just getting started, so they may be operating just under their name or under a new company name. It's interesting there. So kind of get an idea of where they're at, what their general experience is. What are some of their soft skills related to weddings? Are they really good at like events and being on their feet all the time and needing to pivot? Are they, say you're looking into a photographer, are they good at posing and couples, and have they done like a lot of maternity and family photography, something that has them working with people often? Or in high stress scenarios. So those are the 2 things that you want to look for in a budget photographer, having those soft skills in those areas. Your next step, and this is starting to get into the slightly more professional, but should be a baseline expectation, is, do they have a functioning ABN? Now, they may not have to have a company name, but they still need to have a functioning ABN as a sole trader to work in Australia generally. If there's money exchanging hands, there probably should be an ABN there somewhere. Now getting into your slightly more professional, do they have insurance? That's really your determiner of who is professional and who isn't. It's the insurance line, because once you can start affording things like insurance, that means you're out of the first few really tense years as a wedding vendor. On top of that, a website or some other platform. So for example, you may have found a makeup artist, which is fantastic, on Instagram, but she only advertises on Instagram. And that's really interesting, because Instagram, you don't really have an easy way to give feedback. Like there's no reviews section on Instagram. And on top of that, it indicates that she hasn't invested in other forms of advertising. Now, like I've always said, remember to get an idea of where they are in their business journey. If they're just getting started, then that's a little bit more allowable. If they've been in the game for 5-10 years, that would be a little bit more suspicious to me. On top of that, like a website, other platforms, somewhere that shows that they're across a variety of spaces and have, in a sense, mastered those areas. Now, as a sole trader, as a small business, it's really difficult to maintain all of these platforms at once. So if you've got that, it probably indicates that they're a little bit more legit. On top of that, I kind of mentioned it before, but reviews, a place for reviews, something that shows that they're not afraid of criticism and they're willing to embrace it. I would trust, for example, 4.9 stars, a business like that, than 100 5-star reviews, if that makes sense. So I'd rather a business have only 20 reviews and it's averaging about 4.9 stars rather than someone who has a perfect score. That's more suspicious to me and indicative of someone buying reviews rather than this imperfect number over here. On top of that, referrals. At the end of the day, what you really want to find is someone who's been through their work, been through their business, and has come out the other side not scarred for life. And that's why in this day and age, word of mouth referrals is still the strongest way to find your best suppliers and vendors. Someone who it's a great way because it's like, okay, this supplier may not be full-time, but if I pass you along their phone number, maybe they'll do a deal for you. Anyway, that's all for today. Have I missed anything? Can you think of any other tips? Be sure to leave them down below. I'd love to hear your wisdom. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.